they can do it again in game 2 to tie us up 1-1. Well, it might be a revisit of another best of 5 like yesterday that goes the distance. Let us know what you think. Of course, you can get your pick'ems in. They're already closed for this series, but coming up, they will be available for the next series later on as we see Onic take on Team Spirit. But this one's still history to be made. Yangon Galacticos proving that a grand final trip, that's very, very reasonable to expect. Now, your move, Team Falcons Philippines, as the fans are ready. Let me tell you, if you don't see it now, if you can't hear it here, they are alive. So even after a loss, they're doing this. Imagine after a win.
Yeah. I feel like Yangon knows this. That's why they started off that game.
Got to kill the crowd.
Exactly. We did say that Yangon picked a lineup in game number 1 that would have put a shock to the system of the Falcons boys. It was a little bit harder to execute, more mechanically demanding because of that R-Lot, and they made it look easy.
Yeah, we're entering the semifinals with Yangon still not dropping a single game. If this trend continues, that will be a crazy record
That would be crazy
for the Myanmar representatives in an MSC run in history.
That's probably never happened, right? I mean, if at least they're tying somebody, because that can't have happened 3 times. Undefeated, getting to grand finals. We're getting ahead of ourselves, though, guys. We know it. We're excited. Like, we feel the energy. I know you guys at home feel the energy. Let us know what you think, because EWC has not disappointed. The MSC of upsets. So anything can happen as we see the bans. Farrat's taken away, not going to be on flap this time around. The Valentina as well, and a Fanny Atlas. So Yangon, they didn't have to ban Atlas, and they didn't have to ban Freya, and that, I think, gave them an advantage in isolating some of these picks. Now they have to, and they have to consider, if we don't ban Freya here, we're going to give that to flap. That could be a problem.
Yeah, Falcons, their third ban, if it's going to be a Phoveus, will be telling, but Yangon's ban of the Atlas is telling as well, where you know and expect that most likely we're going to be seeing another assassin performance by Han. And at the same time, it's putting a little bit of a dent onto Falcons, who don't ban out the Phoveus, they ban out the Marcel, because now you have Freya open, Hirara open, and that's what Yangon looks like they're going to be playing around. That, okay, go ahead, pick up the Freya, but we're going to get the Hirara, and you already saw us be ready to deal with the lineup that wants to all in and dive. What if we put another extra threat up on top of your head, which is what if we suddenly show up with a Juice and Hirara again, and then your Freya's suddenly going to be thinking twice about every engagement.
Or maybe even the Bellerit, because I doubt the Freya would like either of that. Just heroes that could stop the potential engage and just prolong team fights, which I think the Freya would greatly like, but they ban it out instead, would rather not hand it over to Falcon. So the Hirara option and pickup can be considered here. If you're Falcons, just have to be mindful of the other potential trades. That will include the Bellerit we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it looks like Bellerit is primed and ready to get set up as the first pick, and they do lock it in. Yangon don't need to rush that Hirara, but I think they might actually be okay with doing so. Han is brilliant with it, and then let's see if they're gonna rush the Eudora right away just so that they don't have to worry about it, or they're gonna lean towards some of their old favorites. Again, Eudora, Gord, Juicin. The mid lane for Yangon has played only 3 heroes. Make that number 4. Oh no, still 3. It's still just the Eudora.
I like it, and you get the Hirara back. Feels good. So same old stuff. Why would you stop not just a winning formula, but an undefeated formula?
Yeah, there's not much to change up, especially for Yangon here.
Now the decision for Falcons is whether or not they go Uranus or Esmeralda. You don't see enough to warrant an Esmeralda. If you pick up the Uranus, it looks great overall, but then you're up against most likely an Esmeralda in the EXP lane. Unless Falcons take something out of the Yangon playbook and decide to pick up a little bit more of an aggressive EXP lane hero, I think they're going to lean in towards the idea of just prioritizing Roman mid now. Wouldn't be surprised that if they go for pokes as early as now, they decide to go for the Uranus.
Okay.
They save their mid for later, they still pick up the Nolan.
Which is different than the first draft, where they were all basically showing the same lanes, and they were just fighting over Rome and Gold. So the bans will be different here in this second phase.
Yeah, maybe since they know the matchup, the EXP lane can be an option here, because honestly, I feel like the hero pools for Rome and Gold are a bit too deep for Yangon, that they could just really play around it in the second phase of the draft if ever they wanted to.
Yeah. Now the difficult thing here for... Yangon decides to show the Claude right away. I feel like there's a little bit more of them trying to manipulate the draft so that Super Marco doesn't really have a lot of picks. Because I was worried for the draft of Falcons, wherein if Yangon stretched this out long enough and it gets overlooked by Falcons, they could show up with the Melissa later on, knowing that they're already up against a Belleric and Uranus. No one's going to be able to reach her. But this is, again, just more confidence coming from Yangon to take out the Claude. And let's see if they're going to continue to just focusing on the heroes of Super Marco by either banning both, they take out the Clint, or they ban one gold laner option, and then they just pick up more heroes that can mess them up. Remember, Falcon still has a Brody that they can play with here.
Yeah, and I feel like at least for Yangon, them picking up the Claude here in this part of the draft will already limit the options for Falcons in terms of the mid lane in a sense. Because you'd really would want to consider a bit of more range as well in order to just reach and get a bit more access to the backlines of Yangon, but knowing that there's a potential dive with the Blazing Duet as well from a Claude, then they might be a bit more iffy to go for the stationary artillery mages that we were previously seeing from them as well, because I believe Falcons was only one of the few teams to also pick up a Farsa.
Does feel like they have an answer potentially to the intense engagement that we saw from YG and the Belleric and Uranus. That should be able to at least slow people down, survive a little bit, maybe catch you off guard with an ultimate, Wrath of the Dryad, make things difficult to get out once you do overcommit. But now what's the other play around it? Because Zushin getting banned, how do they access these characters? How do they get to the Claude when he gets in and gets out? How do they make sure the Eudora doesn't have too much presence in these team fights?
Up in your face surprise stun. They ban out the Esmeralda. I think they can go for a Vexana as a consideration pick later, then pair it up with something like a Brody, or they dig deep into the bag of Falcons and decide to play the map a little bit more and they go for Low Yi Brody to close it out. But still, with Yangon not showing their Roam and EXP, they will have to show one of those picks now. Picking up the Lowy and the Brody to close it out, and then if ever they have one really strong formation breaking EXP laner as their last pick, then Falcons, that would have been checkmate for them, and Yangon going 2-0 in the draft.
Ooh. Yeah, at this point, I feel like there you go.
Yep.
The Ruby does show up. They've already taken out the Juicin, which I think is one way to tell that they really just want to go in. They really want to get these melee heroes and fighters in the draft to complete their lineup, and the Selena still gets picked up for the second time here for Falcons.
I really thought they'd go for a little bit more AoE here, but they already do have the Belleric anyway. I still think the Lowy would have been a fantastic pickup, but let's see. Maybe they still have so much faith in this Selena that the constant vision provided and the arrows is going to be enough for them to read Yangon's maneuvers.
I'm thinking now, because at this point it looks very tight. The formation looks very tight for Falcons. Who knows what Blink would be considering again in the roam, because we've seen a lot of options which I think would work out really well for them here in the scenario. The Carmilla that they previously used is up there as well.
Yep.
I think that can be a consideration. If not, the Badang that they previously used to just complement it with the layers of crowd control might be an option as well for Yangon.
Got a Kacha available, Cho available as well, but kind of a tight-knit group there. So who are you going to isolate? Who are you going to pick up if you are the Cho and get that kick on?
Yeah.
Just questions to be raised. We'll see how deep that pool is for Blink here.
Yeah, because you really don't want to kick back the Belleric.
Yeah.
No.
The Uranus is going to pack the Purify. They go for the Mathilda. Strong combination here by Yangon. And they are able to balance out their draft in the sense that they're not going to be as easy to take down in the early game. They have some good shields. But there is a realm of possibility where Falcons gets the first two turtles. Turtle 3 will be a decider, and then Lord 1 is where it's going to be at.
Did they do enough?
At least for Falcons right now, they're not very specific in terms of their win cons in the early game. But I feel like execution-wise, I'm just expecting Yangon to still be as fast as we saw them in game number 1.
The Moskov picked up for Bulletproof Super Marco. He is a star for Falcons. They need him to show up big. It's the second game, a second lineup, a draft that the panel a little less decided on, but still feeling like Yangon can execute. Trax, Leo, how we feeling?
2 games in a row. I think MGod and Marv's have trumped Coach Vren and Moody once again. I love that last pick, Matilda. It fits the Burmese' playstyle so perfectly. You see Blink is already crossing over, scouting 3. He's going on a 1v3 recon mission, Trex.
And that's what they did in game 1 too. Not as deep, but still constantly. They're not scared to get in Falcon's face at all. Yesterday they knocked on the door until it finally, or last game they knocked on the door until it finally broke open. And this time I got a feeling we're gonna see the same exact thing.
So far it's up to Falcons to adjust their tempo. They found out that in game 1 you cannot take your time. Slowing down Yangon Galacticos is not an option. So good to see that Falcons are finally here, at least when it comes to early game rotations. Marco here, dueling against Sanji, using that gold crab as a point of contention. What's going on? What kind of duel are they getting into now?
Super Marco just likes pain at this point, I think. But look at the damage on Sanji. That's what they were doing.
All right. That's what Mirko would call the walk-up. Just straight up opening a rift from God knows what dimensions. Putting the fear of God into Sanji. Mid lane, though, this is the first time we're actually seeing these trio go toe-to-toe.
And all 3, here comes Han as well. We could see the big attack here. Kai's goes down. First blood for Falcon. And the Falcon crowd finally erupts.
The other half of the stadium acknowledges the fact that finally Falcons are taking to the skies. Han going for the steal. Blink very low. Forced to flicker out.
Good flicker at that. Flap now. Setting things up for the rest of the team. A big flicker from Yang, and down goes Han. Kyle finally putting kill into his pocket. Stack that up with the turtle, and it's a beautiful start for Falcon.
2 minutes in and 1,000 gold up. Trex, is this what Falcons was looking for? As a big picture draft, I'm gonna die on this hill. I really like what Yangon have brought in, but were Falcons just looking for a tree to perch on? Was it just really the Belleric that changed the way they play?
I honestly think it is. The Belleric has the ability to stop YG in their tracks and also respond. Yet last game, Falcons had issues punishing. They had issues finding those moments and biding enough time, and this time, Falcon found the answers to do it.
SOD thrown out to try and secure. Sanji acknowledges the duel. I'm gonna double down on that. I think the fact that the Burmese Ube, the Yangon Yam, is so evident that an ult like the Wrath of the Dryads just throws that sideways. And it's not even for Ogwyn just using the ult. The whole kit of Belleric answers so much of what Yangon are good at.
Not to mention, when it comes to the big team fights, even Sanji on this Claude is going to have some issues dealing with it. Everyone on the side of YG might have some issues. Han taking a lot of damage from Flap. Flap is in their face non-stop. Big ult comes from Kai's there, but not enough damage quite yet. Flap and Ogwyn forced to back off, but Falcons in general still staying on their side of the river.
They're going to threaten Han here. Oh, the flicker! Dryad comes in! Picking Han off!
That one's gotta hurt. Another pick onto Han, 0-2 and 0, and we're just getting started.
Already the 3 kills that Falcon scored all game 1 long has been achieved here. And forcing a BMI out of Sanji, an arrow thrown out. That's 4 members that they're sending over.
It's being cornered right now, but Kai's and Blinks are showing up to try to help. Falcons saw them coming, and they said, no, we'll let you have this one. We'll let you have this one for now, but look at Flap. The guy's a menace.
This is one of the few things you actually gain from Uranus. Call him what you will, a brain-dead hero, very little mechanically brought to the table, but macro-wise, he's controlling that quarter of the map. The Ruby has very little to do. Ying can only hope to try and stop Flap. That's 2 free turtles going over to Falcons.
Yeah, this game has taken a full mirror image of last game. Falcons with a huge lead already. We've already got items stacking in for the side of Falcon, and I'm waiting to see when Ying can actually get involved in these fights, because I think that was supposed to be one of the possible answers to what Falcon brought. It was supposed to be the same kind of response that the Belleric is giving Falcon right now, but the fact that it's stuck in the XP lane, it's not moving as fast as Flap is, they can't capitalize on it until the Yangon Yam can actually activate, until all 5 can actually group up.
And I doubt it's going to happen anytime soon. Lane per lane, roll per roll. Falcons have checkmated Yangon's prior rotation. So one might say game 1 could have been a download. They were checking how much they can get away with, how far, how fast. And Falcons are the ones rotating now. 2-man, 3-man coalitions. Blazing the way by Sanji.
Yeah, but I think he really just wants to get rid of these minions, but he's not quite able to do it. Circling Eagle does come around, but it's more of a defense mechanism from the side of YG. They save the tower, they save Sanji.
Flap continues to just dominate and say, see this part of the map, the upper quarter, that's all mine. And I think that's what's denying Yangon Galacticos their prior aggressive rotations. And they're gonna have to find a way to fight for turtle number 3, or else just fight for the late game. I'm looking at what, 14, 15 minutes in, Wrath of the Dryad here by Ogwin, forcing a response out of Yangon. There's no lanes that Yangon can go home.
Yeah, this is tough for YG. The constant pressure from Falcon, and the fact they're able to send for 3 to 4 members down to this bottom lane is because of what Flap is doing in the top side. At this point, Han isn't getting orange buffs. He's being permissioned to get it, but wait a second, a lot of damage on Ogwin. Ogwin with sliver health. Falcons don't want to let him go down, but YG doesn't want to let him get away. Ying finally able to put a kill on the board.
Bloodthirsty and bulletproof. Ying across the board prior to the series starting has had the best KDA, least deaths among all players, but now he wants some kills as well, forcing that flicker. Turtle number 3, Yangon on the board. Unless Kyle has something to say.
Kyle does not have something to say this time at least. He tried, he went for it, but YG were able to secure a position. That's going to help a little bit in terms of gold, but still Falcons holding not only a gold lead, but a map lead with 2 tier 3s down on the side of YG.
Long-term trade, that's worth it. The price of Ogwin and a turtle for tier 1 top and bottom, that is what Falcons wants. Nothing ever comes for free, and they're able to maintain a stranglehold on Yangon's economy. Han not on the board just yet. He's struggling. Every little small camp. Hey, for the first time in what? 2 spawns, the orange buff is actually open for him.
Han is able to get it, so that's a good thing. Falcons now changing their pace of it. There's no more off lanes to gank exactly, but for the damage on Flap does pop the Consecration. Will be safe to get away. Still has a Purify in the kit. Super Marco shredding down on this top side. YG getting a bit more grouped up now, and Falcon has noticed.
All right, we see a little bit of the bulb, a little bit of some growth in the Yangon Yam, but approaching the 4,000 gold lead, and the fact that there's no one threatening Marco. 8 minutes in, no one threatening Marco. Now don't throw down.
Ying, Wrath of Dryad does come out, circling in, will get the big knockup, and in comes Han, getting a lot of damage. Sanji with a blazing duet, Ogwin caught in a bad position, Haji as well. YG don't want to let it go, they want to fight back. They're looking for the next target, and comes Sanji from the side, a nice flank on Ogwin. Ogwin tries to get under the tower to safety, but there's no safety against Yangon right now.
No shelter will stop you from the Yangon Yam as they Uber their way into a flank, converting into a turret, trading. Actually, 1 for 4 was it? That was an amazing response out of Yangon Galacticos. A Circling Eagle that knocks up 3, takes out 2 of their core members. And I don't think even the coaching staff, the folks in the Yangon Galacticos holding area, were expecting that fight to go as well as it did.
That 3-man knockup sets everything up. And at first it looked like YG were split up. But what Falcons didn't know is they were actually pincering. I don't think it was planned like that, but YG found the moment and capitalized on it. In a matter of about 20 seconds, the gold has been minimized, and the game is a standstill.
That is improv in Mlbb at its finest. Suddenly, Han has 3 kills. Man's got a triple in that sequence. But so far, this is one of the few windows wherein Falcons have to say, not again. You can't do that twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So now they know that these small avenues on the map might be dangerous, and I think Yangon have found a way to do that. They've rope-a-dope Flap. Flap might get overloaded. That's the problem here. Once they figure out how the Filipino cannon can kind of blow up on his own in his face, then that's how that works. So they have to overload his Purify, overload his Consecration, and somehow find a miracle. 3-man Circling Eagle already used up by Blink.
Big knock-up. He might not be able to get away from this one. Flap, though, with Consecration, still goes down. A kill into the Book of Han. Onto the top side, though. Ogwin misses. Purifies our pop. Flicker's used. YG still wants to fight for this as Falcon remaneuvers. Watch for Kyle on the backside. Han with the engage. Able to get the iframes. Forces Super Marco away. Han looking for a target once again. Ogwin brought low. YG collapses on top of him, and down he goes. Kyle knows it's a lost cause. He can't engage.
That's what I'm saying. You take down Flap, SOD thrown out. Not a good idea. You overload Ogwin, and then you deny Falcons the entry to anything else. Lord number 1 goes over to Yangon Galacticos. Falcons have to switch it up. It can't be the same thing. You have to find a way to engage off of more than just flap, long haul, check in that range with a jab. There has to be some straight to the face that Falcons can pull, but looking at it right now, their whole draft, I don't see it anywhere soon. There's no way that they just pick a fight from out of nowhere. Element of surprise is always going to be on Yangon's side.
So now Falcon, I will say this, with the ults they have, with the skills they have, they can hold a decent defense here. And if YG oversteps their boundaries, one big Wrath of the Dryad could counterplay. But maybe that's the answer for Falcon. Let YG come to you a bit. Let them engage and see if they overcheck themselves.
Which has been, I think, what Falcon has been trying, especially in that Lord Dance. It's just they dogpile on the Flap too soon. Fortunately, Flap has his Purify once again, 30 seconds off of Ogwin's Wrath of Dryad Flicker combo. But I think the damage has been done, man. Couple more kills on Han. Sanji left unmolested. 0 deaths on this Claude. Sure, it's been a difficult early game. They spent, what, 2 or 3 death squads to try and gank him out of that lane, but he never gave in. He never caved. So I'm guessing a good chunk of that gold, despite Marco having a good, what, first 5 or 6 minutes, has been closed in. Like, this is more than just an equal gold lane matchup. If anything, I think Sanji has more gold than Marco now. Oh, I'm offended.
Plus the stun, Flap is forced away. This time YG doesn't cause the full collapse, and they know when they can, they know when they can't. They decide to back off. Let's see if anyone walks into Kyle here.
Kyle holding left mid brush. Oh no, Flap walked into 3.
Purifying Consecration gone from Flap. 60 seconds to Lord still though.
This Burmese Ube is lethal. Not more than 30 seconds are they ever apart from each other. That's amazing. And again, that's what Red 5 Matilda gets you. The fact that Blink can be within what? 2 or 3 seconds a step away from where he's needed with a flicker too. So they're basically, you know how Louis folds the map in half?
Yeah.
Blink kind of folds the map in 2 quarters, which is almost half. Fair enough. Mathematically, almost half. Looking at the items, true enough, Sanji is 500 gold up on Marco. Even with Marco building the Wind of Nature, that doesn't protect him from Kaiser. It doesn't protect him from Blink's Rogue Wisps. So Marco is never truly safe.
All right, so what's the big answer, right? Ogwin didn't go with the Revitalizer or anything. He has the Flicker, so there could be your opportunity of surprise, but who's going to be the bait? And it seems like Falcons maybe 2 split up. Maybe they need to group up as well.
In an effort to split up Yangon's Ube. But wait, look, they're blitzing the Lord. Oh, there's no response.
Oh my God,
Falcons score!
And then the conceal, the hit and run. YG are going to try to close this.
Oh, Trex, true enough, you said maybe Falcons should group up, and they do. They blitz the Lord, and that's the price you pay for playing the Ube so tight. Yes, you can be within 2 or 3 seconds grasp of your teammates, but not the whole team to be in to respond to a Lord take that quick. What was that? 5, 6 seconds?
Yeah, that was fast.
Oh!
Wait a second.
Marco.
John Marco, circling eagle, gets the knock up. Han closed the distance and gets the kill. That's going to help a lot for this Lord push.
Oh,
YG just need to get back to base now to defend.
Not a little. I think that was careless of Falcons to not check that lower quarter and have Marco walk into a brush that had 3 members of Yangon in it. So with Marco getting picked off, I think that neutralizes the Lord take. This is a wash.
All they get is, they get the tier 2 on the bot. They get the tier 2 on the bot, tier 3 on the mid. So they get a little bit of ground, but not what you would want out of the second Lord. But then again, they weren't even supposed to get that Lord, honestly. The fact that they were able to burst down, it still feels like a good win for Falcon right now. Flap taking a lot of damage. Circling Eagle. How long does that thing last? YG gets the I'm offended. Responds with a rather dry, but it's not enough to save Flap. The game is already locked in, and look at the blazing duet from Sanji. They lock on to Super Marco next. And Falcons have 2 men left standing as YG knock on the front door.
A Selena and a Belric are not made to clear waves. This mid lane wave is crashing in. Falcons are losing this inhibitor.
They could lose more if YG wants to keep on pushing. The Cannon Minion still standing. Another wave left. Oakland tries to lock in, but he can't quite save it. Haji bursts it down, and YG take down the Crystal in game number 2.
Yangon Galacticos at match point, 2-0 against the M5 World Champions, against a legacy team that beat Myanmar in the M2 World Championships. Yangon are 1 game away from locking the grand finals.
YG are showing right now that they have not forgotten the rivalry.